You're listening to The Picture Show, a Mach 5 Network podcast. And here are your hosts, Jason Zimmerman and Jacob Lee.
Hey, what's up, fellow movie lovers? Welcome to The Picture Show, now streaming, where each week we review one movie that we streamed on Netflix this week. And you can join in the conversation on social media by tweeting us or messaging us at Facebook, Mach 5 Network, or via email at mach5network@gmail.com. I'm Jason Zimmerman and joined, of course, by Jacob Lee. What is up?
That's right. We're containing all of our movie reviews in their own little episode, so you get more a la carte content. And our now streaming movie reviews are going to be in the same format as our in theaters now reviews. We're going to talk about it as if you've seen the movie with us. This is us, your buddies from The Picture Show and the Mach 5 Network, hanging out, talking about movies together. And you can add your comments here, and we'll read them on the show about these movies by messaging us on the social media outlets that Jason said to us beforehand.
Exactly. And you can play along at home by watching the movies in advance and then messaging us and tweeting us and emailing us, and we'll read your comments on the show. Or if you send us an audio that you recorded on your iPhone, we'll play that too. We'll get you involved. All right, so this week's now streaming pick. Small-town fry cook Odd Thomas is an ordinary guy with a paranormal secret. He sees dead people everywhere. When a creepy stranger shows up with an entourage of ghostly bodocks, predators who feed on pain and portend mass destruction, Odd knows that his town is in serious trouble. Screenplay by Stephen Sommers, based on the novel Odd Thomas by Dean Koontz, directed by Stephen Sommers, and starring Anton Yelchin, Willem Dafoe, and Addison Timlin. This is Odd Thomas.
My name is Odd Thomas. Lord knows. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not the child of a celebrity. I've never been married to, abused by, or provided a kidney to a celebrity. But I do lead an unusual life. Knock, knock.
Loop me in, odd one.
This place looks like some kind of shrine.
Did you check the refrigerator for any severed heads?
That is Stormy Llewellyn. Stormy and I are destined to be together forever.
That must be for you.
All right, Odd Thomas, here we go. This is a movie about a guy whose name really is Odd Thomas, and he's a weird dude with the ability to see dead people. And not only does he see dead people, but he takes it upon himself to basically right the wrong of their death and try to apprehend their killer, which is an interesting take on this.
Oh, it's actually it's based on a novel by Dean Koontz, and it's a really, I think, interesting concept. It's not terribly original, right? But it's a very interesting concept. Like, to me, I think of this as like the little kid from The Sixth Sense all grown up.
Right, there you go. Exactly.
And to me, reading the synopsis on Netflix sounded really good, really interesting, right? I like Anton Yelchin. The last movie I saw with him leading the actual film was the Fright Night remake, which I thought was really good and really funny, and he was really good in it. And he was really good in this film, generally, too. I mean, not really good because he wasn't given much to work with, but he was good in this film.
He was the shining star.
Yeah. He from there, from his performance,
it all goes downhill. You know, from the start of this movie when you're watching it, to me, it feels very low budget looking. It looked like it should have been a TV show. Like, as I was watching this movie, I saw it as an interesting supernatural TV show about a kid with these powers who each episode a dead person comes up to him and then he solves their crime. I think it makes for an interesting TV show. It made for a very strange movie, probably an excellent book, but as a movie, I don't think it worked because they tried to just play with the tone of the movie in a really strange way. Where was it supposed to be, serious and scary, or was it supposed to be campy and quirky and funny and lighthearted? It just, to me, the tone was all over the place. And so I think that sort of more funny approach that they were going for at times, I think it would have worked really well. I think this whole thing would have worked well as a TV show, better than a movie.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. With better writing and better direction.
Right.
Because I feel like you could get someone at a lower budget that could direct this better than Stephen Sommers. And that could write this better than Stephen Sommers because he wrote the screenplay too. The dialogue in this film, and I look at direction as like the director's purpose in a film is to get his primary and his most important purpose is to get the best performance possible out of his actors, right? And to advise on cinematography and editing and all that. But his number one most important function, because no one else is in charge of it, is to get the best performances out of his actors. Yep. Anton Yelchin, I felt like, was doing it on his own.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe, who is a great actor, right?
Right.
And I don't know about the rest of the actors and actresses in this film. I'd never seen Addison Timlin before in a film. The one guy who plays the creepy like police officer guy.
Yeah.
The one with the swoopy hair, the main eventual main bad guy. He was in, I think, Scream 4, and that's the only thing I've ever seen him in, and he was kind of forgettable in that too.
Yeah.
But the fact that Willem Dafoe felt like he was mailing in every single one of his lines, like he had read it for the first time that day, 5 minutes before shooting the scene, is what it felt like.
Yeah, definitely. Bad dialogue all around here. I think bad writing all around. You know, this is another case where I think some stories just play better strictly when read as a book and not as a movie. It felt like, you know, it comes to the point where this one girl is seeing these visions and he's seeing these visions, and then they follow this other guy around that they start calling the Mushroom Man or whatever they call him. And then,
I don't know.
You know, there's this whole bowling team that they keep seeing, and then there's, you know, then you have these bad cops who it got so out of control, I thought, when they're trying to figure out who the bad guy is in this movie. And then all of a sudden it's like, was it the Mushroom Man, or was it this cop was bad? No, wait, it was the other cop was bad too. Oh, and that
it was both of them.
Right, it was both, and it was another guy was there too. Oh, everybody was in on it.
This movie had like 6 false endings.
It really did.
It was like, you know what would make the scene even better? If there was another guy.
Right.
You know what would make the scene even better? If this guy really wasn't doing that.
Right.
And his supposition was wrong. And it was like, it felt like they tried to grab the end of like 6 seasons of a TV show. And they're just like, okay, we're going to put the ending of this season here, and the ending of this season here, and the ending of... There was no build up to any of it, right? It was just like, and this guy was involved. Oh, by the way, this guy was involved. And oh, by the way, this guy was involved.
It was ridiculous.
And, you know, maybe 1 or 2 of those situations would have worked, but I think they did it 4 times.
Yeah, it just kept happening, and I was like, really? Really? Him too, huh? Who else is involved? Who else is a murderer here? And then it turns out that they all started a cult when they were kids or something. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They were bored.
Why?
Right.
They're weird, and there was no motivational setup for them whatsoever.
There was none. It was just like these dudes apparently started a cult, thought it was cool, and decided they wanted to kill people as a living.
And I'm sure in the Dean Koontz book, because it has like a 4.5 stars on Amazon and a few other book places, I'm sure that Dean Koontz book explains the purpose of the Bodox very well.
I hope. Yeah, I would imagine it does.
Because they were seemingly supposed to be a really important part of this film. Right. But in reality, they did nothing in this movie to drive the plot along.
No, they didn't. They were just these weird, ghostly creatures that he would see floating around, and they would look like they were going to suck somebody's soul out, and then they would keep going, and they really did nothing except he could see them, and that was about it.
Right.
And there was a weird scene where he tried to hide from one behind a door. And I was thinking, really? They don't know you can see them. So why don't you just walk out the door? I don't understand what you're hiding for, but whatever.
They have the same weakness as the aliens in Signs. Wood. They cannot get through wood.
Should have known.
Through a window door. But I didn't understand their purpose in the film. And at the end, like going into the third act of the film, I was thinking to myself, okay, they're going to have a real major part to play, right? In this, in that they're opening a doorway to hell, and the Bodocs, there's going to be like a leader Bodoc or something. Like they're going to, they're going to be an important focal part of this ending. Whereas no, it just ended up being like they obstructed his way of getting to shoot this guy, and they happened to show up at points where all the bad stuff was happening. To me, they were like, this is Odd Thomas's way of knowing weird stuff's going on.
Right. Yeah, he sees these and he knows weird stuff is happening, but they offered nothing because it was just this guy were the bad guys from their cult, and these really basically scary looking Bodoc ghost predator creatures. They looked scary, they looked threatening, but at the end of the day, they really
little 1999 CGI.
Yeah, the effects in this movie were a little weak for sure, but they didn't. They offered nothing. You could have had this movie without them, and it would have been the same movie.
Oh yeah, it would have been the exact same movie. He sees a creepy guy,
right,
and that guy's weirding him out, and he senses something's wrong, so he follows him.
Right.
You didn't need the Bodocs for that.
No.
You didn't need the Bodocs for the something weird's going on in the mall. Oh, I see my vision there. I see that there. There's something bad's going to happen here right now. And then he sees the Bodocs. It was just like, okay, that's another trigger. Like we got it. Something is happening here.
Right, exactly.
And so I imagine in the Odd Thomas universe, if there is one, like if there are multiple books, I imagine they have a much more important role to play, right? I could see them being used, say you had a 13-episode TV season, like you said.
Yeah.
You have a 13-episode TV season, I could see the Bodocs showing up maybe 2 episodes. Playing a major role when they show up, but that's the only time they need to show up.
Right, yep.
And in here, they were just constantly thrown in every scene and added nothing except, ooh, this is kind of creepy.
Yeah, pretty much. They were pretty useless in this movie. So we've got bad writing. We've got a useless Bodocs. We've got a terrible ending, I thought. A terrible. He goes through all this. He eventually does save the mall. He doesn't save the world, but he saves the people in the mall from this mass slaughter that was going to happen that kept coming up in all these visions. And then at the end, his girlfriend works at the ice cream shop in the mall, by the way. And so, we think, oh, she's okay. And him and her end up living together and happily ever after. And then people show up at his house and say, oh, she's dead. And then, oh, sorry, she was dead. And we just didn't know she was dead. And I thought, come on, really? This movie was so bad throughout.
That worked for me, though.
I thought, did you have to kill her off? What was the point of killing her off in this movie? Maybe if you're going to do a Spider-Man and Gwen Stacy thing, maybe fine. If this is going to be a long extended series, which I don't think it would be because it's not a good movie. So killing her, it didn't make any sense to me in this movie. Like, why kill her off? Let them live happily ever after, and let's just move on from this rubbish.
To me, it felt like it. Okay, I need to look this up. Odd Thomas. I need to see what the book situation's like.
Seriously.
There is a series, and there are, it looks like, at least 11 books for Odd Thomas.
Holy jeez.
So, to me, I'm just going to throw this out there. Either this happened. She dies at like book 2 or 3 or at the end of book 1 or something like that, and that sets him on the rest of his journey,
Right.
Or she dies in the, I'm just totally speculating here, or she dies in like the first chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And that sets him on his journey, right? Because that's the point, right? That's the point where he starts his journey, right?
Right.
Here he's just kind of small town doing his thing. Then he's got to do his quest stuff, and we don't get to see the quest stuff, of course, right? And I want to say that the book's probably, she didn't die until maybe book 2 or 3,
Right.
But it felt like it was condensed in this movie. Like that whole relationship was condensed to... This is what it was condensed to. Speaking of the bad writing, I remember a line from this film. I actually remember a line from this film because it's said like 4 times. Willem Dafoe will have a discussion with Stormy and they'll be sitting there and he'll go, "You two, huh? What is with you two?
Right.
You two, huh? Right, like, yes, they're in love. I get it. Why do you have to say, what is up with you two? You two are too cute. You two." Like,
right.
and that was like Stephen Sommers' way of saying that, yes, they were really in love. Really?
Yeah.
Like, I bought it between
Right.
the two of them. Did you have to have someone else acknowledging that?
Yeah.
Constantly?
Yeah, it was
over and over again?
Right, because he was odd and everybody thought he was odd. And that was another thing. Just side note that came to my head. Why did we need everybody commenting on how odd he was throughout the whole movie? I mean, it just kept coming up. I'm like, I get it. He's odd. His name is odd. It just keeps coming up. That was annoying.
Because that's how Stephen Sommers apparently writes a film.
Apparently so.
Like, I don't know if he wrote the Mummy films or G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra. But his films seem like they have to show you something that isn't too bad, right? I don't think he captured... I think he captured the dynamic between Stormy and Odd just fine on its own. The delivery of the lines, that's another question. But showing the two of them together, you saw them, it made sense, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You bought, like, she was supportive of him in these situations. They had this weird teenage love destiny thing, and they got together, and it actually worked, and, you know, it worked out. Doesn't happen that often, but I believed them as a couple. But then he needed to tell you that they were a couple like 6 times.
Right.
Just like in Van Helsing, he's like, "Oh, there's Frankenstein. Or Frankenstein's monster. He's conflicted."
Right.
And then instead of just showing that, he did a good job showing it, but then he's like, "He's conflicted, man. Yeah, he's conflicted. This vampire dude's evil. I'm so evil. I'm the vampire dude. I'm so evil, I'm going to rule the world."
Yep.
You know, like that's just seems to be a thing with Stephen Sommers, that he can't realize that you just need to show people for those things. They don't need to be hammered over the head with them.
Well, and the same thing with Odd's inner dialogue, which we heard at the beginning, which a little is fine, but it just kept going, where I think it relied a lot on telling us through his inner dialogue, telling us through characters like that. It got really, really too much. Just too much. Yeah. Maybe Stephen Sommers' rating isn't that good.
I liked his inner dialogue for the most part. I thought the movie, like the first 5-10 minutes of the movie, when he's chasing down the dude and doing his first case thing, I was kind of like, okay, this is actually pretty good. I'm liking this.
5 minutes. I give the movie 5 minutes, and it took a turn fast where I was like, oh, this is not good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Did you have that same experience, though? You're watching the first 5 minutes, you're like, this movie might actually be kind of good and interesting.
I thought I was going to... Because I saw it after you already told me you didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I thought, wait, I'm going to like this movie. And then it was like, no, I'm not.
It bait and switched me hard.
Oh, it did. Yep. Me too.
It was like, okay, I like this character. I like the vibe the movie's going for. It's kind of funny, right? It almost even has that it was making me think of Sherlock Holmes, the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes, where he's like thinking about like punching him in different areas, where he's having that inner monologue while he's fighting the guy, and it's kind of slowing down. I was like, I said this to myself, like in my brain. I didn't say it out loud, but I said this to myself. This might actually be Stephen Sommers' best movie.
It had you
for
a minute.
Then they went into the diner.
Right, and then it all went
from
down.
that point, it was like...
Yeah,
what?
Then you meet his girlfriend Stormy, and she starts talking, and you think, oh, this is bad. This dialogue is terrible.
You're so weird, Odd. I love you, Odd. I love you so much.
Right.
Willem Dafoe walks in. What is it with you two?
Right.
Odd, are you going to blame all this on me again? Odd, don't call me on sex night.
Right, exactly. Oh.
What? This movie... So don't fool yourself. Like, if you've watched this film, like, let us know if you had that same reaction if you've watched this film, where you were watching it and you're like, this is starting off pretty good. Yeah. And then the movie just goes, no. It's like a Bodoc took control of the film. Right. It's like, we got you.
Right.
Like, I'm going to eat your soul.
Right.
But that would actually make the movie better. That happened.
It really would have.
Bodoc came on screen and been like, sucker, I got you.
Right.
And just talked to you the whole time. You thought Stephen Sommers could direct a functional movie. You were wrong. Yes. That would have made the movie so much better. But overall, I didn't care for this movie at all.
No.
So, even though this movie wasn't fantastic, one of the things that we're doing here on the Picture Show now is our favorite moment of the film. Jason, do you have a favorite moment of Odd Thomas? It could be like terrible favorite, but do you have a favorite moment of Odd Thomas?
My favorite moment of this movie is probably, I'm scanning the movie in my head right now. Ooh, this is a tough one. Man. Oh. I don't know. I don't know.
I'll give you my runner-up in mine. My runner-up is the moment, and you're probably going to hate this, but my runner-up is the moment where he realizes Stormy's dead.
Uh-huh.
Because that worked for me. Like, it always gets me when a character is in denial about something.
Yeah.
And then they kind of pull the rug out from underneath them, even though they're letting him live with that denial. That always gets me. That's my runner-up. But my favorite moment in the film was the first segment. The first segment of the film.
Yeah, that was definitely the best part of the whole movie. Ooh. Oh, man. I'm trying to... Oh, man.
Maybe the ice cream falling off the ceiling. That was kind of cheeseball.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something that was funny that I would be like, yeah, that was great. But nothing is even... Nothing is really even... Maybe my favorite part is where Willem Dafoe opens the door and is like, are you bothered me again on sex night? And he gets shot because then he gets freed from this movie.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Willem Dafoe's exit, they had to write that in because he's like, I'm not doing any more of this terrible movie. I'll do one more scene.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
All right. Boop.
Dead.
He's not dead, but...
No, actually he did live because he, the whole heart thing. Yeah, whatever.
Right.
Okay. Right. He wishes he was dead, but at least he didn't have to act in the movie anymore.
Which was totally random.
Yeah.
Odd's just like, here, take this. I think you need to wear this. Right. And he's like, okay, I'm going to wear it while I'm having sex.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. Makes no sense. All right. Awards.
Okay, so, awards. One of the other new things that we're doing here on the Picture Show is granting awards to a film. So these awards go out to things like great performances, direction, writing, music, cinematography, set, and effects. In order for a movie to get the award, it has to be nominated by both me and Jason. So there has to be a unanimous consensus about the movie getting the award. This film gets nothing. It didn't get nominated by either one of us. No awards for Odd Thomas.
No outstanding anything here, unfortunately, Odd Thomas.
No, even really. I mean, maybe if we were to give one for outstandingly bad writing.
Award for movie that should have been a TV series on the WB. That's what I give it.
With a different director and a different writer who would be more talented than Stephen Sommers. Right. Why does he keep getting film roles? I like The Mummy. I'm sorry. I did. I liked The Mummy. When I was a kid and saw it, it was great. Like, I liked it a lot. I've tried to watch it recently. It's not as good as I remember it, but it's still good. Other than that, the dude has done nothing that's really impressed me.
No, agreed.
So to say that his best film is a mediocre film, why does he keep getting work?
It's a great question. I don't know.
Oh, well.
I don't know.
Sorry. Nothing against Stephen Sommers, the person. I don't know him as a person. It's just... Mother of God. Just TV shows are better than this now.
Yeah, they are. They really are. All right. So we've got to nominate now the Picture Show movie MVP. Who is most valuable in this movie? Whew.
My most valuable nominee is Anton Yelchin because he was the only person that was actually trying in this movie.
There you go. I almost went just off the grid inappropriate, but no, I'm going to go with my nominee is also Anton Yelchin because yes, he's very likable. He's a likable guy, and he did as well as he could have with amounts to a crappy movie.
Yeah, I don't think he could have given a better performance with the script that he was given, right?
Right.
He did the most with what he was given, which was a steaming pile of poo.
Pretty much, exactly.
So, Anton Yelchin, you are the Picture Show Odd Thomas movie MVP.
Congratulations.
Congratulations for being the best part of a poo movie. Oh, boy.
Next.
This movie.
Yeah. Next. Grades. We got to grade this movie now.
So, this is our final verdict on the film. So, Jason, what do you give Odd Thomas?
Odd Thomas, you tried, but you failed. I give you a D-.
Odd Thomas, you were so promising. You had such potential.
You had 5 minutes of glory.
You had 5 minutes of truly, truly intriguing material, followed by another 90 minutes of pure... Therefore, you also get a D- from me.
A double D- from us. There you go.
So Jason and I this week, between Edge of Tomorrow and this, we agreed double time again.
Look at that. That is a week.
Same scores for both movies.
Yes.
One great, one not so great.
Yeah. Whew. All right, we'll see next week. We'll be watching The Robot and Frank on Netflix. So if you would like to chime in, if you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, check it out this week. The Robot and Frank. Let us know what you think. Let us know your MVP, what awards you would give, what you would grade it, and all that good stuff. And then we'll discuss The Robot and Frank next week. On that note, that's going to do it for Now Streaming this week. And join us next week when we discuss The Robot and Frank. We discuss more movie talk with you guys from here on out with the new format of The Picture Show. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Peace out.
This has been a Mach 5 Network production. Be sure to subscribe to our shows on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. You can also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Mach 5 Network. Follow us on Twitter at Mach 5 Network and email us at mach5network@gmail.com. Until next week, I'm your announcer, Crown Jules, logging off.